The world is on fire and it's also deeply, profoundly ridiculous, both at the same time, all the time. Like you open your phone and there's multiple wars, a climate crisis, something unhinged, someone said, and grocery receipts that make you want to lie down on the floor. And then in the same scroll, you've got a company just raised $4 million to put an AI camera inside your toilet to photograph and analyze your gut intelligence. Oranges are up 75% at the supermarket, but you've got companies selling $900 mirror that uses AI to tell you how fast you're aging. And somehow you're just supposed to keep going. Make dinner, answer the email, be normal about all of it. And it's fucking exhausting. So today we're talking about collective burnout and why tuning it all out doesn't actually make it better, and 4 things that actually do make it a little better. Ready? Let's go. Hey, I'm Noemie, former queen of bad habits and corporate go-getter turned well-being coach and personal growth junkie. And in a world full of overwhelming wellness advice, we're here to cut through the noise. This is your space to master healthy habits, transform your mindset, own your well-being, and design a life you love on your terms. We're ditching the highlight reels and embracing the whole messy, imperfect journey towards becoming our absolute best selves. You're the author of your own story. So are you ready to write the next chapter? Let's go, and welcome to Unwritten Potential. Hello, my friend, and welcome back to Unwritten Potential with me, Noemie. I am so glad that you're here. And I'm recording this from Lake Atitlán in Guatemala. It's absolutely fabulous here. 3 beautiful volcanoes, a gorgeous lake, and absolutely no idea how to work out the cable TV box. And honestly, it's been a blessing because that means no news in the background, no ticker updates, no panel guests yelling at each other for 55 minutes minus ads. And I've noticed something kind of uncomfortable about that. Tuning it all out doesn't actually make you feel better. It makes you feel guilty and then weirdly more anxious because you know it's all still happening. You're just choosing not to look. So you end up in this gap where too much and you're overwhelmed, but too little and you feel disconnected. Apparently, there's a sweet spot somewhere in between, but I haven't found it. If you have, let me know. But I've been trying to figure out what actually might help beyond the obvious, and that's what today is all about. So let's start with why the news makes everything feel worse than it already is. Again, beyond the obvious. And a psychologist called Graham Davey ran a study published in the British Journal of Psychology, and he found that it takes about 14 minutes of negative news to make you start catastrophizing. Not about geopolitics, about your own life. The email you haven't sent, the decision you've been putting off, the conversation you've been pulling off, the things you've been avoiding. 14 minutes. That's one scroll session, right? That's the length of your morning coffee. And the number of people actively avoiding the news globally is now at record high. The Reuters Institute Digital News Report found it's at 39% worldwide. Nearly 4 in 10 people are just completely checking out. And I get it. Staying informed has a cost. We just don't talk about it much. Here's the thing I keep coming back to. I've been lucky enough to travel to every continent over the years. We've spent the last few months moving through Latin America, and there's something I keep noticing, right? Are we actually as divided as it feels? Or have we just repeated that narrative so many times it started to feel like fact? And before you come at me, I'm not being naive, okay? The deep divides are real: ideology, inequality, the gap between who has enough and who doesn't, right? I'm not naive. But everywhere I go, people are just lovely, not in a dramatic way, just in small, very unremarkable, consistent ways. Like, we've had a fabulous trip so far, but for example, our Airbnb host in Belize driving us to the hospital when my husband fractured his arm. He's okay. People are so patient when I'm obviously practicing my very broken Spanish with them, and they're just so friendly. Or this woman at a market handing us extra tortillas because we asked for them and smiling like it's nothing. Like, people are just good. That's my experience. And I'm sure that if you think about it, that's your experience too. But the 2026 Edelman Trust Barometer found that 70% of people globally are unwilling or at least hesitant to trust someone with different values. 70%. And yet, that's not what it feels like on the ground. The towns, the markets, the taxi rides, they don't feel like that. I'd like to think that the distrust lives in the scroll, not in the streets. And the thing about collective exhaustion is that it's also, by definition, collective. Nobody is going through this alone, even though it absolutely feels that way at 1 a.m. when you're doom scrolling and the world feels like it's about to end for the 10th time this month, or these days, this week. Okay, so how to not lose your fucking mind. I have 4 things for you, all evidence based. None of them involve buying a $900 AI aging mirror or a camera for your toilet. Number 1, stop adding, start removing. When everything feels like too much, the instinct is to add, right? I've talked about this before. We have this bias towards adding a new routine, a better system, a plan to sort your life out. So you can ask yourself a better question. What can you stop? What can you remove? It might be the news app that I downloaded to get different perspective, or the group chat that's basically just people sending each other terrible headlines, or scrolling the news before bed to see what fresh hell happened while I was making dinner. These are all things that I have removed, that I have stopped. None of it's super dramatic, but it made everything a little quieter. I'm also a big fan of turning off most notifications. You don't need breaking news alerts 10 times a day. Number 2, regulate before you try to understand anything. If your nervous system thinks you're under threat, everything looks worse than it is. And scrolling through crisis after crisis keeps it there. There's a breathing technique called cyclic sighing that's been properly studied at Stanford. It's 5 minutes and you double inhale through the nose, long exhale through the mouth. And you do that for 5 minutes. It's been published and it outperformed meditation for moods, and the effect got stronger with each consecutive day. So again, double inhale through the nose and long exhale through the mouth. I do it when everything feels a little too much. It hasn't transformed my life. It probably won't transform yours, but everything feels about 15% more manageable afterwards. And right now, 15% is generally all I'm after. Number 2, move badly, but move. Anything counts. Any movement counts. The BMJ published its largest ever analysis of exercise and depression in 2024, 218 studies. And what they found was that walking, yoga, strength training reduced symptoms at levels comparable to medication. 20 minutes where you're not sitting and scrolling. So I love doing HIIT classes at the moment because I don't have access to a lot of equipment. So I just do HIIT classes in the living rooms of our Airbnb. I look absolutely ridiculous, but I always feel better afterwards. That's the entire science. And number 4, find the others. This might be the most important one, and it's also the simplest. Researchers found that social connection increases your odds of survival by 50%. That's roughly the same effect as quitting smoking. But more specifically for this feeling, there's something about naming it out loud, saying, is it just me? And hearing someone else says, no, honey, it's not just you. So technically, this entire episode counts as evidence-based intervention. You're welcome. So here's your experiment for this week. Pick one of those four, just one. If it's subtraction, what's one thing you could stop doing that would make everything a little quieter? The news app, the group chat, the bedtime scroll. If it's regulation, try the 5 minutes of double inhale through the nose, long exhale through the mouth. Do it tomorrow morning before you pick up your phone. If it's movement, 20 minutes, doesn't matter what, walk, stretch, dance around your living room, or do a silly YouTube hit video, it still counts. And if it's connection, text someone. Say, hey, is it just me or does everything feel a bit fucked right now? I guarantee you they'll probably say, oh my God, yes. And then you're not alone. That's the whole exercise. One thing this week. Maybe it doesn't fix anything. None of this fixes anything, but it makes the whole thing feel a little less like something you need to solve and a little more like something we're all in together. And right now, maybe that's enough. Thank you so much for being here with me today, my friends. And if this one felt like a bit of a relief, share it with someone who's been quietly drowning in the scroll, the one who keeps saying, I need to stop watching the news, but hasn't yet. Send them this episode, tell them it comes with science and a little bit of swearing. And if you're not subscribed yet, head to unwrittenpotential.com for the newsletter and future podcast. Take care of yourself. Much love, and I will see you next week. Bye.